Testing, testing. Okay, there we go. What to say? What the hell? Um, you guys can hear me? I'm getting everything set up, so hang tight, hang tight. Got this 25. Right? Thumbnail. Peace on. What's going on, man? It's not include any paid promotion. And there's no, let me back. Power went out. I'm an hour late because of power randomly just went out right when I was about to start the stream. So I'm gonna be on for about an hour. Just bubbling up. Leon went and got a new battery so I could switch this out. But I don't know when the battery comes in, and stated average went and got an OLED for Nile, but Dragon couldn't come down. So we're stuck with this switch, and we're hoping it can survive long enough till one of the two comes in. Definitely have a couple of questions to ask you guys. So I'm just relaxing. Nyla's gonna start up our Just Dance stream a little bit later. She's just cooking some dinner for me, and then she's gonna shower. And by the time she's done with all that, then we jump back on her stream. Building blocks for a new foundation, doing a whole series because we got to prepare for the summer. We're doing the Fenty beauty line. we're doing a Fenty Beauty line or cosplay featuring the Valkyries as they're introducing this product into the cosplay space. We're poised to go to Barbados to be a part of this anime convention there. In fact, this Sunday coming up, the Valkyries are going to be going to what's the name of this thing here? Whoa, to Weebout, and that's when they're going to go on television and make their announcement to their Inter-Caribbean Anime Convention tour. So as you guys can see, we're over here trying to make that Weebout goal. We're over halfway there. Big shout out to Jarion for the latest donation. I appreciate that. So we just need 120 more. Don't be shy in helping us with the building blocks. If you guys want to notice, a lot of the stuff that we do, all of the work we have done. You look at all the work the Valkyries and the Empire have done as a whole. All of our support comes from you guys. It really doesn't come from like mainly sponsors or anything like that. Sponsors do help, but they're a fraction of the support that we get. The majority of our support comes from the gamers and the people who support the endeavors of the Empire and its Valkyries. Where is this? Okay, there we go. Put up my daily message for you guys. This entire week has been like, ugh, it's been crazy. I'm trying my best to get online, but it was very rough this week. It's going to be rougher this week coming. Hopefully after we get this Weebout thing done, things will kind of settle in a little bit more. Oh boy. All right, yeah. So, okay, we got some news to go over. Bruh, that's not even possible. Oh, okay, yeah. So let's take a listen to this.
Moving now to take you to Rafah, where at least 28 people have been killed in an Israeli strike in northwestern Rafah. The tents of displaced people sheltering in the city near United Nations Relief Agency warehouses were hit, and the injured have been taken to the city's Kuwait hospital. Eyewitnesses reported that the tents of the displaced people caught fire after the shelling. I think Al Qadri is on the phone for us now from Dar Al Bala. And can you just bring us up to date with the latest from this airstrike there in northwestern Rafah?
Okay, so the Israeli forces targeted a makeshift test with 8 Israeli airstrikes. This is a place where was classified by the Israeli forces as a humanitarian area, and it was safe, as they claimed. At least 27 Palestinians have been killed. We have been seeing footage emerging online. We see how the bodies of people have been burned. We're talking about 28 Palestinians, and the number is likely to increase because the ambulances and the civil defense teams are still transferring those Palestinians into the hospitals. There's only one hospital currently facilitating in Rafah, which is the Kuwaiti hospital that only has 8 beds. But we also knew that some of the injuries are also being transferred to the IMC field medical point. Again, this was a target for a makeshift tent near the UNRWA logistics base in San Sultan. It's located in the western part of Rafah. The targets were tents, makeshift tents where thousands of Palestinians remained in that area. because they thought that it was a safe area. Maybe people in tents were targeted.
What's
There
going
are
on, Rion?
more people injured, and the footage
Rion,
that is
did
available
the
online is very terrifying. You're seeing people that are
kit to
not
fix
being
the
able to be
Nintendo Switch come
recognized
into
because
Jamaica yet?
their bodies were completely damaged. And it's not only that the Israeli forces carried a couple of airstrikes also in western parts of Rafah after this target. It's intensifying and it's also
okay. The
escalating.
plan is, first thing I gotta make sure is
watching these pictures
give me about 2 weeks. I got it for sure because I have to make sure that Olivia gets her monthly for the loan. So I gotta take care of that first. So I'm gonna take care of that this week, and then the following week I'll take care of the kit. If the kit's already here, that's even better. Shit.
Well, actually, we're talking about civil defense teams with zero capabilities, trucks and ambulances, and firefighters do not even have fuel to transfer and to help cope this fire because there has been no fuel entering the battleship for more than 2 weeks now after the Israeli forces started their military operation in Rafah. As you know, tents are very fragile. And flames are firing up all of the makeshift tents. It's very horrifying what we're seeing, but we are expecting more displacement tomorrow.
No problem. I've been here for like 2 weeks now. Told us to tell you on WhatsApp. What?
Give us a bit more detail about the
alright.
There in Rafah. Obviously, we know that
I'm gonna try to raise some money for that. Let me
multiple times,
put our
just the lack of supplies
thing on
that
pause right here.
How that is going to affect the dozens of people that no doubt will be being.
I did not know it was here for that long.
As quickly as possible to treat
Nintendo Switch
burns from this fire.
Battery.
Well, the only hospital operating in Rafah is the Kuwaiti hospital, and it's not really a hospital because it doesn't have an ICU unit. So it's only a medical.
Let's get it through this week. So let's put June 1st.
We're talking about at least 27 Palestinians that were killed and dozens of people injured. So the hospital does not really have the capability to treat and to
Alright guys,
give medication to
I need $100 to go clear this
also,
Nintendo Switch battery replacement kit. But actually, Rion, how much is it?
There's no fuel for
It's $100 for this Switch kit. How much is it to clear it from mail pack?
Again, for more than 2 weeks now, zero fuel have entered to hospitals or to ambulances. So it's very hard and challenging to operate, but the civil defense teams and the emergency people are trying their best to rescue as much people, children and women as possible.
I need a new controller. This shit's ridiculous.
And earlier, Al Qassam Brigade said that it had fired a large.
So I have to move slower because
towards Tel Aviv. The Empire of Arcadia said it launched that attack from Rafah in southern Gaza. Is this the area in northwest Gaza where we're seeing these pictures coming in where this latest Israeli strike is happening?
Is this the 15th?
Hamas fired these rockets
already paid to clear it
actually, no, because
and delivery from the shipping company.
That was taken by an Israeli soldier today was taken from the Rafah crossing, which is in the eastern part.
How much was to clear it?
The western part of Rafah. What has been targeted with 8 airstrikes today is the northern western part of Rafah, which is also classified by the Israeli forces as a safe humanitarian area, and asked people from eastern Rafah to evacuate to this area. So no, it was not the same area, and again, this area is full of displaced people. It's a makeshift tent. It's a huge makeshift tent. So
that was the $100 US quote to you to buy it and clear it from delivery. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
well, I put up the thing, so I'll be streaming this week to try to raise the money to clear that. Once I can get the battery fixed, I can get back to Zelda, and we'll be good on that. Because a lot of people have been asking me if I'm going to ever play it again. It's not that I don't want to play, it's just
women and children who have been living in these makeshift tents for months now. Obviously, and this comes on top of everything that has happened today, and because on such a large scale attack like this, news spreads fast throughout the Strip. Can you just give us an idea of what the reaction has been there in Deir al-Balah, where you are, and other parts of the Strip to this attack that's happened in the last hour or so?
Are terrified because some of their families made it to Deir al-Balah, to the central part, but some of their families are still in the makeshift tent. People are horrified and are feeling very worried. They want to make sure that their families are okay, but unfortunately there has been no internet connectivity, there has been no electricity, and telecommunications are very, very hard to reach right now. So people are terrified, they're enraged, because again, they thought that this area was a safe
Okay,
area.
and sorry, I'm just going to have to interrupt you there because a media conference has started with the spokesperson of the health ministry in Gaza. We're
You
going
in
to
this shit in Israel?
listen to that now.
Yeah.
Exemplary executions against displaced people leading to the death of over 190 martyrs at Nusayrat, Jabalia,
Give me extra servings.
as well as the recent the governorate of the West Bank in Gaza. Moments ago, the Israeli occupation committed a horrifying massacre via
Just make some vegetables for me. It's alright. If it's not enough rice, I'll just the vegetables out. It's alright.
shelter in northwest Gaza. Israeli warplanes targeted the center with over 7 missiles and bombs weighing over 2,000 pounds each, leading to the death of 30 people as well as dozens of injuries, including extremely serious injuries. And this means that the overall number of people who are killed as a result of this massacre is likely to increase. These continuing massacres against civilians and displaced people confirm without a shred of doubt that we are witnessing a genocide crime, a premeditated crime of genocide. It also shows that the Israeli occupation army is deliberately killing the largest possible number of people, particularly civilians and displaced people who tried to escape the fires of war. However, they were chased by the missiles of the occupation, which killed them in cold blood. This horrifying massacre sends a clear message from the Israeli occupation and the U.S. administration to the International Criminal Court and to all other international courts, as well as the international community and the entire humanity. And this message says that the Holocaust of Palestinian civilians continues, and that massacres against displaced people and children will continue, and that violations of international law will not stop. Before these horrifying massacres and before this catastrophe of historical proportions and this genocidal war being waged by the Israeli occupation army, the U.S. administration, and their allies who are involved in this war of genocide, we would like to hereby reaffirm the following. First, we continue to condemn the continuation of this war of genocide and these horrifying massacres that continue against displaced people, as well as shelters. These massacres that over the past 24 hours left over 190 martyrs, as well as dozens of wounded people in Jabalia, Nusayrat, Gaza, and moments ago in the Rafah governorate. We call upon all the nations of the free world to condemn this brutal crime, this heinous crime that is being committed by the Israeli occupation and the Americans. Second, we hold the Israeli occupation, the U.S. administration, as well as all countries involved in this genocidal crime, such as Germany and other European countries. We hold them fully responsible for this genocidal war that continues against our great people of Palestine. This war that has left so far over 120,000 people dead, including approximately that left 120,000 victims, including 36,000 people, and over 80,000
1,000 wounded people. Third, we call upon the International Criminal Court, all international courts, and all the free judges in the world, as well as all human rights organizations all over the world, to prosecute Israeli war criminals and to prosecute American war criminals as well, and German war criminals, as well as all war criminals who are participating in the killing of. We call upon the world to bring them all to trial.
Come on. Why the fuck
war
did I do
criminals
that?
who are practicing death using all lethal weaponry without any limits and without any respect to international law. Fourth, we call upon all the nations of the free world.
Does this guy have this script ready or whatever?
All UN institutions to put pressure on the criminal Israeli occupation in order to put an end to this war of genocide that continues to reap additional lives amongst displaced people and civilians, and continues to leave more people dead every hour and with every new massacre. We also call for the reopening of the Rafah crossing immediately in order to allow thousands of wounded people and patients to travel in order to receive treatments in hospitals outside of the Gaza Strip, especially after the Israeli occupation deliberately destroyed the health system completely in the Gaza Strip, and following the crimes committed by the occupation that resorted to burning hospitals and destroying them completely. We also call for the immediate delivery of dozens of field hospitals and medical crews and delegations to the
All of that, and nobody died in any of that? That's crazy.
Saving us from this dire humanitarian and health situation in the Gaza Strip, which is headed towards a humanitarian catastrophe that will leave tens of thousands of innocent people dead amongst Palestinians, particularly women and children. We also for the delivery of fuel to what remains of our hospitals, health centers, and ambulances, which are headed for a disaster. Save Gaza before it is too late. Save Gaza before it is too late. Save Gaza before it is too late. Glory and immortality to our martyrs. A speedy recovery to our wounded, freedom to our prisoners languishing in occupation prisons, and a salute to our great Palestinian people, the Government Media Office.
Okay, you were listening to the Gaza Health Ministry spokesperson in Deir al-Balah. He called this latest strike a horrific massacre. He said the warplanes targeted the center of the tent. 7 missiles in total were dropped, and he said that they chased people as they tried to escape for their lives. He said at least 30 people are dead, dozens more injured, and expects the death toll to rise significantly in the coming hours. He said without a shred of doubt, this is a premeditated crime of genocide, deliberately killing the largest numbers of innocent civilians.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Altitude.
In a bold move on the global stage, Slovenia is in the process of joining a coalition of EU countries in a significant diplomatic initiative, the recognition of a Palestinian state. As the shadows of the war deepen over Gaza, Israel's bombardment escalating daily and no truce in sight, the international community stands divided. While major European powers like Germany continue to support Israel with arms supplies, this coalition is calling for an immediate two-state solution, positioning Palestinian statehood as the critical pathway to peace. This step raises pivotal questions about the influence of smaller nations in global diplomacy and their ability to reshape entrenched geopolitical narratives. We'll examine what impact this will have as the Slovenian Foreign Minister, Tanja Fajon, talks to Al Jazeera. Tanja Fajon, the Foreign Minister of Slovenia, thank you so much for talking to Al Jazeera. First of all, Slovenia has called for a ceasefire and for all the captives to be released in Gaza. Do you believe that Israel, after 7 months of this war, is breaking humanitarian law and committing war crimes in Gaza?
I said it several times that what we are facing in Gaza with the highest death toll among civilian population in such a short time of war are violations of international humanitarian law, human rights law. And also the same goes and applies now to Rafah, where we see forced displacements of Palestinians, continuation and preparation of a larger scale military operations. So all these are really reasons of concern. And Slovenia, as you said, we are a member of the Security Council in the period of 2 years of United Nations. And since the very beginning, we are calling the international community, all the actors, to have an immediate ceasefire. And now, of course, I was recently a lot traveling in the region. I'm also telling to Israel, don't continue with the military operation, don't do it, because that will further escalate the situation in the region. And we are extremely concerned that what we see today, it's also the use of starvation for a weapon of war. And this is happening.
In that regard, then, do you believe that Israel is committing genocide in Gaza?
Certainly we see signs of genocide. The courts are those who decide about genocide. It's a bit difficult to say for politicians. It's something what I think intimate, but it's other what I say as a deputy prime minister of the government. But I can tell you that
I moved that
it's
over.
horrible. I said a few times that the world has fallen on the best of humanity. 10,000 of children and many disappeared, many lost. We don't know what will happen with this young generation and children in the future. And some say, that 14, 15 years, it will take time from today on, if the war ends, to just remove the rubble, not to think whether one can reconstruct, invest all financial means that we speak about the billiards, people will have any decent conditions for living.
You mentioned Rafah, which many people in the international community see as a red line. What do you make of Israel's attempts to take over Rafah in this way, the way that they're seemingly creeping in step by step?
I was 2 days ago visiting Rafah, and that was some days already a border closure. And it was horrible to see more than 2,000 trucks with humanitarian assistance waiting. And not only that, there is a lot of items for urgent medical help. Items of providing clean water, energy, what is crucial for life of people there. And they are either delayed or limited by Israeli humanitarian assistance doesn't come through. So my message was borders has to be reopened. We have to actually manage better and more humanitarian aid and assistance for people. As I said before, what we speak now is a complete starvation of population there and civilians.
Plenty of countries, including the United States, were adamant that the invasion of Rafah could not go ahead, that this was a red line for them. And yet, here we are, seemingly, there are no consequences at this stage for Israel. Why do you think that is?
It was a red light for everyone. And I was myself in Tel Aviv speaking recently with Israeli Minister Katz, and I was saying the same, don't do it. But I haven't had a single indication or a positive sign that this would not be the case. The same goes with continuation of negotiations or an immediate ceasefire that is a permanent ceasefire, and also discussions of the day after. How to make sure that Israelis and Palestinians can live side by side, two-state solution that a lot of countries are committed to go that way. There was no discussion whatsoever, and that is, of course, worrisome when you have on the other side a partner, a government that has one solemn goal, and this is to destroy Hamas. And I said it very clearly on the 7th of October, when these brutal terrorist attacks by Hamas happened in Israel, killings of civilians, raping of women, it's unacceptable. Every terror and killings of civilians is unacceptable. But looking at the number of deaths, speaking about 35,000 civilians among many children, and operation forced displacement, that is also a violation of international law, And there we will speak about accountability and international courts for sure one day, and the easy.
Give me 1 second, guys.
It's really, it's a
But for the people of Palestine, they need that accountability right now, don't they? Because they don't have years to wait. They're being killed on a daily basis as we speak.
They don't haven't, and you know, I am in the last week speaking a lot with counterparts in the region, and I have to say with these counterparts in the Arab world, they recognize the role of Slovenia. They're very grateful because since very beginning, as I said, we were also or co-author of the resolution for a ceasefire that was first adopted in the Security Council. Then in the Security Council, we voted for a recognition of Palestine in the United Nations. The same we supported additional rights to Palestinians in General Assembly. So we are doing all steps to be really consistent. But now I think we know who has the leverage in Israel, who has to do really utmost. And I would say it's time more than ever now to really act. Time has already, gone much too far, and people will not have lifetime.
President Biden said that United States weapons have been used to kill civilians in Gaza. It's the first acknowledgement of that since the war began. Do you believe that the US is complicit here?
I difficult to see or comment. Most probably I don't even have all the necessary information because in diplomacy, a lot of diplomacy is also away from eyes. But what I see is not enough. It's definitely not enough. And this is why in quite some societies you see certain pressure on authorities. It's growing. You see protests also in our factories in the city about that we are watching genocide, that we are watching killings of innocent civilians, Gaza will disappear. We see brutal violence of settlers in West Bank, that it's growing. We see additional plans of Israeli government for illegal settlings. So all this, it's also in the absence, obviously, of a strong international community for at least those countries that have certain.
You said that the US hasn't done enough. What should they be doing?
I mean, I also speak with Secretary Blinken, and I know he's really often in the region. And there are certainly big efforts to have continuation of negotiations in Cairo. I think this is extremely important, that these negotiations resume. And they resume in a way that there is a ceasefire sooner rather than later, and also a release of hostages. This would be an important step. At the same time, I think what we need to do is to support or reform Palestinian authorities in Ramallah to be able one day also to control Gaza. Slovenia decided to launch the procedures for the recognition of Palestine. To be frank, I wish to see it in different circumstances, to have a concrete peace plan, peace conference, everyone sitting at the table, including Israelis, US, and everyone, to discuss what they are in the political architecture. It's not happening. So in the absence of that, we decided we have a moral duty, at least a symbolic duty, to give a hope to Palestinians with this further step on recognition. And I do hope other countries will follow us, because a lot of countries are saying today, yes, we support two-state solution, but when, how, under which conditions?
Like you say, a lot of people want a peace plan for all of the parties to sit around the table and finally find a lasting solution to what is going on. That's simply not going to happen at this point in time. And what do you think can actually be done, rather than like having another visit to the region, which we've seen hasn't worked in the past to get a ceasefire done? So what needs to change now?
Just follow. It's our own common responsibility to international law and human rights law. Nothing is above that. And once we all respect and commit to it, then we are in a better shape and a condition also to truly work on a ceasefire and on a two-state solution without having all sorts of, different historic background, calculations, or pressures. It is difficult. I know it's not a conflict from the 7th of October. It's a much lasting, longer conflict that we also have to be aware, and it requires certainly every effort also in the region to contribute to peace initiative, plan, etc. So I wanted to say it's not only about our Americans or Europeans, but the joint effort.
On that joint effort, you've joined Spain, Ireland, and Malta, announcing that they're going to recognise Palestine. Why? Why is it important to Slovenia?
So far, we are still waiting other countries to see, but there is a serious initiative on the table of few like-minded countries. I don't want to speak, but certainly Spain, Ireland are in the first boat together with Slovenia. Then we follow others. As we've seen now, we came to a number 145, I think, with Vatican together to recognize. So it's a significant number. And also the vote that took place in General Assembly recently that gave additional rights to Palestinians was with a high majority. So I do expect that what we did in Slovenia is, yes, we launched the procedures. In our case, there is to the national parliament that will have to take a final step, hopefully in a month's time. But we also want to create the pressure, on one hand, for the negotiations to continue, for a ceasefire in the region and for a release of hostages, but also to see an additional efforts of Palestinian authorities to really be capable of having this trust among the population and control over. We speak about Gaza, West Bank, East Jerusalem, if we leave the borders of 67.
But for such a relatively small country to speak up so loud is rather unusual. Why are you making this step?
But maybe this is exactly the reason also. We are a small country looking for climate change. And we don't have big burdens, one can say, from the past, but we can bring different positions together exactly for that reason. If we stand on the side of international law and UN Charter, and we are trying to do so. So at least what, some say Europeans or Westerners have double standards, and we are reacting differently on the war in the Middle East and differently on the Russian aggression in Ukraine. No, we don't. What is our policy is policy for peace.
Obviously, as part of all of this, what is happening in Gaza and in Israel is freedom of the press. Al Jazeera has recently been banned from operating in Israel. What did you make of that decision? And what does it say about Israel's democracy at this point?
I strongly condemned it, even more because I used to be a journalist myself, and I know how important is freedom of the press, especially when it comes to the traumatic or violence or war situations where media play a crucial role. There is a very concerning data. In Gaza, we've seen deaths of more than 100 journalists, and closing down Al Jazeera in Israel is something that is unacceptable. It speaks a lot about democracy in the country, and I think that there is a joint effort that Slovenia is also calling for with a letter, I think, with one of the journalists worldwide organization, to really reopen Al Jazeera, because it's so important that also people get credible information, balanced information from the region. What is actually the role of the media?
Do you think that has made a huge difference, that there are people with phones? Everyone has got a phone nowadays, and we're seeing in real time what is happening in Gaza, and that goes out around the world in real time. Do you think that has fueled some of the backlash against what Israel is doing, and how significant do you think that has been?
I am certain that has positive and negative sides, because yes, we get images, I get images from people daily, and you can judge images yourself. But there is also certainly some disinformation ongoing with different interpretations. Everyone can write everything. So it's also a confusion of information that has to be checked. For that means we need professional journalism. So my desire is always that I come in the region and I can speak with interlocutors here, because they well know the situation, they have different contacts, and it's so important for all of us, especially working in diplomacy, to listen to each other, not only listen, also to hear each other, and then also to try to find certain compromises.
Well, you've been to Israel, as you say, you've spoken to your counterpart there. Do you feel like you have been heard? Did they listen to you?
I speak with Israeli counterpart, Minister Katz, I wouldn't say regularly, but often enough. And I visited Tel Aviv recently with a real wish to see some positive sign and to really urge it is necessary to continue with negotiations. don't go to Rafah, protect civilians, speak about how to ensure peace and stability, safety and security of Israelis and Palestinians living side by side in the region. I have to say that, and it's not a secret because it was all over the news, that at the end of the meeting we agreed that this.
How frustrating is that regardless of the truths that you go there to speak on your country's behalf, that you're seemingly not being listened to at all at this stage?
At least, and I believe it's most frustrating for Israeli population, those that want to live in this. You see protests, and I don't want to blame all Israelis for that war. It's about the Netanyahu and the government. And people want to see all these things. There are many people that want to see this. And they will have to pay accountability for that. And they're very much responsible for the peace.
Wouldn't it be more productive if the EU went together as a unified force to Israel to put their collective pressure on them to stop what they're doing in Gaza, call for a ceasefire, stop going into Rafah, stop displacing civilians, and stop dropping bombs on innocent civilians? Surely the EU is a very powerful, mighty bloc that carries a lot of weight with it. How difficult is it trying to get your counterparts within the EU to speak with a unified voice?
It's not an easy question for me because quite often I'm in a minority of countries that is more vocal and really also call for immediate. I wouldn't say, our debates became very emotional. That I can say that it's clearly sometimes see that there is, we try to find where we can agree. And we certainly agree on a two-state solution. We certainly agree that there's a need for humanitarian assistance, that we are against the forced displacement. We agreed on a sanction against Israeli settlers. So there are a lot of elements you can say one agree. But then is the question of speed. And there are some differences when it comes to a real ceasefire, when it comes to, real steps on the recognition only. Since I believe till the end of May there will be more EU countries with recognizing Palestine. This is the efforts for me.
It's no secret that Germany is the second biggest supplier of weapons to Israel after the United States, Italy as well. And what is their response been to your push
Thanks, Ike.
for the Palestinian people?
It was good to see that Americans
donated $3 for the repair.
Some heavy weapons to Israel. I hope that is followed by everyone who is still doing it, because it's unacceptable to see that either the Western bombs or weapons are used against civilians in the war in Gaza. Yes, Germany has also for historical reasons different, wouldn't say so much different, maybe different approach. Whether it's contributing to the immediate ceasefire is another question of conjunction. Yours.
But the reality is that weapons made in European countries are being sent to Israel to bomb civilians in Gaza. That is the reality of what is still happening today, 7 months after this war began.
I can say Slovenia is not believe so. We are absolutely not sending any weapons, and I do expect the others to follow.
When?
Immediately. Yesterday, weeks ago.
So what sort of pressure are you putting on those countries that are
In all our discussions, we are opening all these heavy issues. Once we've seen the increase of Israeli settlers' violence in West Bank, we were among the first countries to try to persuade other countries in the EU. Sanctions are necessary for Israeli settlers. It took us quite some time to come to a united decision, which was recently. But you have to push, create a pressure, and I believe with what we are facing in Gaza, this pressure is amounting to everybody.
Yeah. The Turkish President Erdogan has said that the EU is definitely not doing anywhere near enough to put pressure on Israel. They have recently halted all trade with Israel. Is that something that you would like to see expanded from Turkey to other countries like that?
It's always difficult to discuss about trade agreements, sanctions, because in EU we have one common market, we have one common system where we have to always search for the unanimous, so the unanimous vote. But it is the discussion that some countries are opening. It's also a discussion with my society, and we are opening in Slovenia. But on trade agreement, on sanctions, it's not that easy to move obstacles that are there when it comes to unanimous approach.
But like you say, it's got to be a unanimous approach. But each country within the EU does have its singular rules. So, is that something that you would push for?
We definitely, and I'm already checking all possible what is can be done in that direction. Also with some certain limitations on the products to the country, export or import. But I can tell you, we don't have a big trade. They are other very significant.
Yeah. You recently met with Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas. What did you take away from that meeting? What message did you give him, and what did you get back?
I tried to encourage them to move ahead, to reform the government, to do the reforms, to gain the trust of people, because they are also the ones in Ramallah to one day take control over Gaza, which it is a challenge for the Palestinian authorities with the current situation. I also explained him our efforts, what we are doing. We have usually good relations. We have some projects in Ramallah supporting women, children, psychosociological health. So we spoke about all possible steps, but also humanitarian aid to Gaza, and also what can come the day after. So it was a good exchange, and I have to say that it felt a little bit more friends, if I say, at least for the recognition of what we are trying to do.
Now, while most of the world's attention has been on Gaza over the last 7 months, obviously the war in Ukraine is still ongoing. There have been some very significant developments recently, with Russia launched a surprise ground offensive that has forced thousands to evacuate the Kharkiv region in the northeast of Ukraine. It appears like no one actually saw that coming, that the Russians would be so effective so quickly there. Do you think that Ukraine has stretched far too thin at this point to defend the hard-fought ground that it has managed to hold on to?
Ukraine must not lose this, because it's about territorial sovereignty, integrity, and we stand. For that reason, with Ukraine, no one can by force take the land. And these are also, when you look at the Russian aggression, entering now 30-year full-scale operations, that these are also violations of international humanitarian law. And Russia is an important player in the Security Council, and since the beginning of that war, the world has tremendously changed. And although the world order that we were used for many, many years is further, I would say, jeopardized. So it's very difficult to find a consensus. The war is ongoing. One can feel that Ukrainians are in a big challenge. And we do, as I said, support and understand this fight.
It feels like you say, more than 2 years on from the beginning of this war, that Russia really does have the upper hand now. How concerned are you about that?
It does feel so. That is why I urge to have 2 peace initiatives on the table, and both sides are at the table. There are no conditions and no willingness or readiness for that. I always supported all the peace initiatives that were there. And currently also the Swiss initiative to call for a peace conference in Geneva, end of June. To make it truly successful, we need a broader support. We need the support of Global South, Brazil, other big partners, and also, at the end of the day, Russia has to be at the table.
Yeah, many have argued that if you don't stop Putin from taking Ukraine or parts of Ukraine, then it's just going to encourage him to invade other countries potentially. Do you believe that?
Did we 3 years ago believe that the war will really start? I don't think that anyone has a clear answer on that.
Yeah, because there's been many analysts that have said that that has been the excuse for many Western countries calling for more aid to go to Ukraine. That if we don't stop Putin in Ukraine, then he's just going to be able to do whatever he wants. But They push back on that narrative and said that that isn't the case anymore, that he doesn't have the military capability to go and take on another country at this point.
Not long ago, there was an attack on a nuclear power plant in Tunisia, and this is 1,005 kilometers away from Slovenia. We were seriously concerned. We even launched a debate together with the International Agency for Atomic Energy in the Security Council to speak about the security of nuclear power plants during the war situations. We do have same experience from our class. So speaking what unlikely will never happen, I don't care. But we should do the efforts to stop happening what is happening now. And we are not seeing really any end of this war anymore.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has just started another 6-year term. Clearly, he has made but patently obvious that this war isn't going to end anytime soon, that he's going to continue with what he's been doing over the last 2 years. What do you think that Russia's long-term goal is? How is their way
they
out of the end of this war?
have occupied illegal territories. They had elections in illegal territories. Certainly, one can agree that illegal territories, they will not never be willing to remove their forces from there. But they should. So now, whether we are strong as international community in our response to that, and I see that here are also certain double standards around the world. If others are critical to Europeans or the Westerns, one could be also critical to the other parts of the world that continue doing business as usual. And it's not business.
The Slovenian Foreign Minister Tanja Fajon, thank you so much for talking to us, sir.
Thank you for inviting me.
If it's Friday, the United Nations top court orders Israel to halt its military offensive in southern Gaza. The latest in a series of developments this week, putting the White House in a tough spot, as Israel is further isolated on the world stage. Plus, new reporting from NBC News on how the president's team is gearing up for a difficult moment for the Biden family and the campaign, as Hunter Biden's criminal trial on felony gun charges is set to begin. And a possible October surprise? Senior U.S. officials tell NBC News they're bracing for a potentially dramatic escalation in tensions with Russia and North Korea that could come just as voters here are about to head to the polls.
These guys love making drama out of shit, like world-ending shit.
Dave Gutierrez in Washington, where the Biden administration finds itself on defense.
Funny, and then it's...
Trail on Capitol Hill.
Shut up. NBC News, you're full of shit. Let's see here. Let's change, let's switch gears here. What? Trying to find something. Channel. What can we look at? What is this? How did she become famous? Some of these people becoming famous, man. I don't know. I don't know if they actually made it legitimately, based on what I'm seeing. Alright. You're not ugly, you're just not willing to get naked. Let's see. She got 780,000 views for this. That's crazy. We need this. And unmute that. Let's see.
You know what I'm talking about. So Instagram had suggested this reel to me of this woman, and she was very pretty, and her booty was astronomically huge. And at first, I was offended by Instagram, because I was like, who told y'all I want to see big butts all over my feet? But she was in the gym, and I do stalk a lot of gym girls, because, you know, I'm trying to be on my fitness journey, period. So I guess in hindsight, it does make sense why she appeared on my feed. Anyways, I will admit that I was surprised and curious about her proportion. So I did stalk her page, you know, went through a couple photos, and I did so because I wanted to see if I could find photos of her before, and I did find some photos that she posted, but she didn't speak English, so it was a little bit hard to translate what she was trying to say. But just by looking at her before and after photos, or even just looking at her after photos, you could tell that her body was not achieved solely by working out in the gym. Like, no shade, but we gotta call it spade a spade.
That's
However, the
obvious.
focus of our discussion is not on the surgeries, even though I do find them interesting, and I would actually love to make a video on like cosmetic procedures, specifically BBLs, but not to discuss them for another day. Rather, our discussion for today is about the broader idea that displaying more of your body can lead to increased attention and opportunities and deems you attractive. We are here to talk about how the idea of showing more gets you more, and to dissect how this concept plays out in our society and how it affects you and me. The fact that her big booty caught my attention and made me click on her page speaks volumes. Well, not about me though. Oh my god, you guys don't think I like big booties. Like, listen, booties are great, but I don't go out of my way to search for them. Just letting you guys know. Not a reflection of my personal preferences,
That's funny.
but rather an acknowledgement of the societal norms that equate sexual appeal to attractiveness and success. The entertainment industry often reinforces the notion that women must possess sexual appeal to be deemed attractive and to advance in their careers. And this also makes me
To a
think of the
degree.
idea that women can sleep their way to the top, or that women can sleep around to get what they want, especially in the entertainment industry. I used to hear this idea all the time when I was younger, and I feel like it would be an interesting idea to explore. But this idea that women have to have a very strong sexual appeal and have to sacrifice themselves to advance in their careers adds pressure to a lot of people who are even not in the entertainment industry. And this pressure can and does lead women, especially young women, to feel compelled to present themselves in a sexualized manner, whether by choice or by societal expectation. So you can think of today's video as a continuation from last week's video, where I talked about the phase pertaining to Olivia Rodrigo and to other female celebrities as well. When I was editing the video, I realized I had so much more to say, and this topic is beyond Olivia, so I definitely wanted to expand on it in today's video.
What? Oh.
And this video is a somewhat continuation of my male gaze video, because I'm going to be talking about some things that I talked about there, but I'm going to expand on them more in this video. And this question has been on my mind for a while now, and I'm hoping by the end of today's video I can answer it, or you can answer it. It's the question of whether these women actually want to present themselves this way, or do they feel compelled to present themselves this way? And why does sexual appeal signify when a girl enters adulthood? Why is it not other qualities? You know, so many
Because
questions.
men run everything.
Anyways,
And that's what men want to see,
video.
although they lie about it.
So I just have a quick question for you, and I feel like I already know the answer to it, but I'm still going to ask it anyways. And my question is, have you ever Googled yourself online before? And if you have, did you like what you saw? Be honest. Well, I recently Googled myself, and I certainly did not like what I saw. I found that all of my information was readily available for anyone to see, especially data brokers who sell your information to scammers, spammers, and anyone else looking to exploit your information. With a quick Google search, you can see that all of your information may be available on the internet. I'm talking about your name, your house address, your email address, your health records, like, honestly, all of that. But that's why I've been relying
Except for
on
me.
Aura
I'm off the grid.
This video to protect myself from these scammers and spammers, because they've been trying it. Aura provides me with invaluable insights into which data brokers are selling my personal information, and it takes action by automatically submitting opt-out requests on my behalf. When I logged into Aura and navigated into the Vault section, I was shocked to discover that it identified many data brokers selling my information. But with just a few clicks, I initiated the process to remove my data from these platforms, reclaiming my privacy and reducing the flood of spam in my inbox. By cleaning up my information, I'm fortifying my defenses against hackers who could exploit it to gain access to my
rice,
accounts
fish,
and
and
information,
vegetables.
such as my social media
This will be
accounts
enough.
or even my bank account. Even though there's not much for them to take, you know, but
All right.
I would still like to protect myself. Aura also offers a comprehensive suite of protective
I might want a little bit more
features, including
potatoes.
antivirus,
Can you bring me a-
VPN,
bring
password
me the potato
management, parental controls, identity theft insurance, and more, all conveniently packaged into one affordable subscription. You might already have some of these tools, but without Aura, it's like locking the front door but leaving the back door wide open. With Aura, I have the peace of mind.
Get back to it. One second.
Part 1. Society's fixation on female sexual appeal. So yeah, we're getting straight
not a
into it.
society
Why
thing,
are
it's
y'all
men.
so obsessed with sexiness? Yes, you. In
What?
contemporary society,
This is so
there a
stupid.
pervasive fixation on female sexual appeal that permeates various aspects of our culture, including media, advertising, and interpersonal
Because
interactions.
men like women.
This fixation stems from deeply ingrained societal norms and expectations surrounding gender, sexuality, and beauty. Here we're going to delve into the underlying factors contributing to this fixation and its implications for women. Shall we begin? I would say, and I'm saying this in my chest, that the advertisement and entertainment industry heavily rely on the male gaze to drive sales or to capture their attention to drive sales. I mean, in my male and female gaze video, I highlighted many examples of movies where the male gaze was the only thing that they were thinking about. And due to this, these industries systematically objectify women to appeal to male consumers. But this is nothing new. Nothing new, y'all. And this perpetuates the notion that men are driven by base urges and they can't resist the allure of an attractive woman they see on the screen. So basically they're saying that men think with their teeth and not their brain. Advertisers capitalize on this by incorporating sexual appeals into their marketing strategies, reinforcing the idea that women exist primarily as visual stimuli. And while some may argue that
Not
men
true.
are biologically inclined to react positively to sexual stimuli, research suggests that women also process such content, but just in different ways. For example, women may react defensively to sexual appeals, perceiving them as threats to their reproductive abilities or as triggers for intrasexual competition. And that's basically when two people of the same sex are competing for a partner. And this phenomenon can be observed in everyday situations, such as when, let's say, a wife or a girlfriend becomes upset with their partner for looking at another woman's photo on screen, or for liking suggestive pictures of random women on social media platforms like Instagram. I'm sure you guys have seen so many like memes, just like funny skits on that on like TikTok or Instagram. But I do find it weird if like you're in a relationship and you're going out of your way to like follow a bunch of women who show off their body a lot. Like I do find that weird, and like it's like, why are you doing that? You know what I mean? Especially if you're in a relationship, I just feel like it's weird. But these scenarios that I've just given shows how advertisers, record labels, or music artists utilize female bodies to captivate male attention and to generate profits. However, these interpretations fail to fully acknowledge the impact of sexualization and objectification on a woman's mental health or social well-being. And in response to these criticisms, record labels, music artists, advertisers, they're now trying to reframe sexual appeal as messages of female empowerment rather than being purely for the male gaze. So now when we have female artists showing off their
That's for
butts,
both.
boobs, it's all in the name of female empowerment. And I do feel
That's a
that
lie.
does exist, but to a certain extent. Because these
Yeah, it has to be. It's both. It's not just for one. Mystic, what up, bro?
displays of female empowerment often perpetuate unrealistic beauty standards and reinforce the idea that women's empowerment is contingent upon conforming to male-centric ideals of attractiveness. Female empowerment doesn't only have to be bending over and showing your whole behind. The idea of equating sexual expression to empowerment can be misguided, especially when it's used to justify overtly sexual behavior at a young age. Madison Brown is a YouTuber who I do enjoy watching, and she has this video titled, "You're Not Sexually Liberated, You're 16." And that title just encapsulates the whole issue, because you can't be sexually liberated at 16. Like, you're 16. And why does your
That's true.
independence or liberation depend on how you express yourself truly? It shouldn't be, but this message has been pretty prominent for a while now. They push this idea that once you hit puberty and you're done with puberty, it's time to grow up, be a big girl, start wearing makeup, you gotta start dressing suggestively because now you're grown. If you don't, you're gonna be considered childish. At 16, or even 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, young women are still in the process of exploration and development. And equating their self-worth solely on how they express themselves sexually is detrimental. In my video where I talked about how
Agreed.
young girls are starting to look like they're pushing 30, a lot of teens in my comment explained how they feel pressured to look grown and look older because if they don't, they're considered childish to their peers or even to some people who are older than them. There's this assumption that as girls get older, they want to naturally express themselves sexually. And the fact that the entertainment industry is pushing young women who have strong sexual appeals or have a very sexualized image does not help. But it's not these women's fault at all. They're just playing the game and the game is rewarding them. But it does
True.
contribute to the normalization of equating female empowerment solely with sexual expression. Let's just dive into some examples so you guys can see what I'm trying to say. Part 2, the cult of sexualized figures. In contemporary society, there exists a widespread obsession with sexualized figures, particularly among young people who are bombarded with images and messages glorifying unrealistic beauty standards and overt sexuality. This phenomenon, often perpetuated by the media, advertising, and social media influencers, contributes to the cultivation of a cult surrounding sexualized figures. So let's talk about some of these women today. There's many women who like to talk about this part of today's video, but I'm just going to stick to the ones that have recently become quite famous due to their look and their music.
Like
And
Ty?
I'm going to-
Well,
every
Whatever her
single
name is?
artist because this video would be hours long. But I'm just going to talk about them to show you guys what I mean. And I also want to make it clear that I'm not shaming them for showing their bodies. That is not my intention, and I am not about that life. Even myself, I am not the most modest person ever. Like, I'm definitely not the most raunchy, so I'm not the most nice person. I really cannot be out here saying that, oh, showing your body is bad. I don't think that's bad. That's not what I'm trying to say.
Hi, thanks for telling us about Slow Yard at home. We save a whole lot on the internet at home. Wow, it's so fast and we just love the unlimited.
So let's talk about a couple of artists who are not new to this channel. Well, one of them is, but the other ones are not new to this channel. And they have become insanely popular within the last year and a half, and that is Ice Spice, Pixie Red, and Tyla. All of them are beautiful and have seen a lot of success with their music, which is great, but it's apparent that their rapid ascent to fame is not solely attributed to their artistic prowess, sparking debate about the role of appearance and will appeal in their success. And some of y'all may question whether if the talent is really present in some of them. And that's what discuss this one. So let's talk about Ice Spice real quick. So she blew up in 2022, even though she only started pursuing music in 2021. So she is extremely lucky for receiving the type of success that she has received in such a short period of time. Ice Spice has already collaborated with Taylor Swift, Nicki Minaj, and she has attended the Met Gala, and she has hung out with Kim Kardashian's daughter, North, which is odd, but okay. There are artists who have been grinding for years to be where Ice Spice is, and the fact that she got that level of success within the span of 2 years is absolutely crazy. Like, shout out to the marketing team. Can y'all find me too? I don't want to be a rapper though, but this helped me market my YouTube channel. Thanks. But there's a lot that has helped Ice Spice get to where she is today, and her appearance and sexual appeal definitely play a factor. She's a light-skinned woman with a big butt, small waist, and pretty face, and she uses that to her advantage. It's not an Ice Spice concert if she doesn't bend over and twerk at least once, or tap her coochie or something. Ice is not dumb too, like she knows what she's doing. In her song called Bikini Bottom, she raps, "She wanna party with Spice, and the body gon' eat, bon appetit. Song fat with the waist on sleek." Like my good sis Ice knows what she's doing. She knows how to use her body strategically to advance in her career and has helped her immensely. Her record label knows that, her managers know that. Like everyone who's working behind the scenes to help her get to where she's at, they all know that. And I'm not criticizing Ice for twerking all the time and using the body, because she has simply just navigated the industry and she's being rewarded with success, money, and fame. And this is exactly what Red is doing as well. And side note, I feel like Red and Ice Spice are very similar. Like they both rap about explicit content, they twerk a lot, you know, they show their bodies a lot. Like they're very, very similar. However, I feel like people perceive them differently just because of the way they look. Ice Spice has
one's light skin, one's dark.
Kiddish look, despite, you know, her music not being kiddish at all. Well, Red's image is not like kiddish at all. Like her music's not kiddish and her look is not kiddish. So I feel like that's really the one reason why they're considered very different when they're really similar. I mean, also the lyrics too. Like I could say that, yeah, Red is more overt with what she's saying. However, they're both talking about explicit content anyways. So Sexy Red gained widespread recognition following the debut of her single Pound Town 2023, which was produced in collaboration with Keiki. The song's success led to the release of a remix version titled Pound Town 2, which was featuring Nicki Minaj, and it marked her first entry on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. And since then, she has released many songs with very catchy hooks, which have made her even more popular. I am 100% positive that you have heard the song Speedy by Speedy. Like that song is very popular, and it was very catchy. Like that song had people in a chokehold, and that definitely made her even more popular. If you see me and you're trying to see what's up, her songs are not only catchy but very vulgar. And even though her brand is very vulgar and explicit, it's very, very raunchy. Like it's the complete opposite of myself. I do like her brand because I feel like it's authentic to her. Like it matches her energy, and it feels like she wants to do this. Like she wants to show herself in this way. It doesn't feel like anyone behind the scenes is making her do something. So I can appreciate her for being herself and showing her natural body. Like that's one thing that I really do like about Sierra too. There's so many BBLs in the industry, especially in the rap industry, but to see Sierra just embrace her body, especially right after she gave birth to a kid as well. She still performed at Rolling Loud like a couple weeks later, and she was wearing like shorts and a crop top, and she looked good. Like she looked good and natural, and I think that is just so refreshing to see. Right, we're used to seeing all these BBL bodies. BBL bodies. So overall, I do like Red. I think her brand is cool and it works for her. And, you know, she's representing a certain demographic. So, yeah, obviously they need the representation. I can defend her for most things, but sometimes it's like, girl, like, did you have to say that? Also, one thing that I do not like, and I can't defend her for doing that, was when she was shooting her music video last year with NLE Choppa. They were shooting the music video for his song, out, and it caused a bit of controversy because Sexy Red and this other rapper, Sukiata, were beside each other and they were on all fours. You know, like if you're like walking like a dog, that's what they were doing. And then the rapper NLE Choppa was grabbing their hair, so it was like he's walking dogs. There seemed a lot of backlash, and it was mostly directed at NLE Choppa because he was the one holding their hair, but Red actually came out to say that it was her idea and that people should stop hating on him. Well, whoever idea that was, I was not a fan, and I'm still not a fan. I didn't like the representation. I don't need to see women being portrayed as dogs. I'll pass on that. And some of y'all might call me a grandma or whatever, but you know what? I don't care. Because like I'm actually a very chill person. I'm a very like open, do what you want. That's me. That's my body. But this, I was like, no. Absolutely not. But Sexy Red's image has contributed a lot to her popularity. Everyone knows her, like even older people know her against their will. People my age know her, younger kids know her, like everyone knows her because her songs are catchy, and also she has a shock factor to her because she is very technical. If she wasn't as vulgar as she is, do you really think that we would know who she is today?
Nope.
Absolutely not. Now, the next artist who I'm going to talk about may come up with shock because she's not as vulgar as Ice or Secret, but it is Tyla. So Tyla blew up with her song Home.
I'm going to pause Tyler for a second. Be right back. Wow, that's spilled. Oh, that is gold.
Water, which now has a remix with Travis Scott. And this song really blew up because of the dance, which I am sure you have seen if you go on TikTok or Instagram regularly. This dance trend is meant for the people who don't have stiff hips. So if you don't have stiff hips, you can definitely do this dance. And the biggest part of the dance is throwing water on the back while you move your hips. Like I feel like that part of the dance is what really made people want to participate in it and really help Tyla blow up. And to me, Tyla is more of a sexual artist. I would say that she does have a strong appeal, like she shows you the goodies without revealing everything. And but her music utilizes innuendos instead of being overt. Like Water is a song all about releasing your fluids, but a lot of people don't know that because she does not say it directly. Kyla does utilize her sexual appeal, and that definitely has helped her get to where she is today. She's very talented, don't get me wrong, but definitely her appeal, her allure, the way she looks has 100% helped her. And the water dance itself, I guess one could say it's suggestive because, you're moving your hips, you're pouring water down your back. The water pouring down your back can reference different type of stuff, so do what you want with that information. And there are even videos of girlfriends or wives getting mad at their partners for watching the water dance on their phone because the dance itself, I guess you can say that it is suggestive. And this does tie back to the point that I was making earlier with how girlfriends or wives or whatever, they get mad at their partner for liking brand up women's Instagram pictures of them posing suggestively. So you see how it's going together, how advertisers and record labels know that presenting a woman's body in a particular manner captivates male attention. And that attention can easily generate them profits and make that artist more profitable, more famous. In the long run, it's just making them more money. Kyla is talented, and it's amazing that she is receiving attention for her work. She won her first Grammy already, but having that appeal and allure to her has definitely propelled her career. And it's even funny like 2 days ago, I posted a photo of one of Kyla's songs on my Instagram story because, her new album just came out. It's a good album, so I like that. I posted it on my story, and this guy, I don't know what to call him, a friend, acquaintance or whatever, so he's right up to the story, and he said, she's bad. And I just feel like that summarizes how a lot of men view Tyler. Men. And I just want to reiterate that I'm not people who choose to present themselves in this manner. It's not their fault. They're playing the game and they're getting rewarded by the game. As I said before, I am not the most modest person ever. If I want to, I'm going to wear shorts, I'm going to wear a dress. I'm not the most modest person ever. However, I'm also not the most raunchy person. When it comes to ice and sexy, I am not on their level. But I'm just trying to highlight the fact that we continuously push women into the spotlight who are willing to show their body and use their sexual appeal. But why can't we not grant the same grace to others who don't want to do that? I feel like Billie Eilish is one of the only recent female artists that did not have to use their sexual appeal to become insanely popular, and I love that for her. But for the most part, a lot of artists, especially the recent ones, have blown up due to their and I feel like this contributes to the idea that young girls have to start showing their bodies once they grow a butt and boobs. It feels like it's a rite of passage that young girls have to go through, and it really should not be. We need to start highlighting and pushing alternative narratives because with that, there's an opportunity to empower young girls to embrace their talents and identities without feeling pressure to conform to these narrow standards of beauty and sexuality. Period. How does that sound? Part 3. Is this all by choice? I feel like that is the dying question and the most important one for sure. Despite how any young woman chooses to present themselves, it's important that they actually want to do so. There is already a lot of pressure for young girls to shed their childish behavior once they hit a certain age. So let's talk about this, and I also want to share my experience as I am still navigating this as well. I remember a while back I was reading this article that was about Selena Gomez, and it was about her 2015 album titled Revival. And on this album cover, she was completely, but the way she was posed, you didn't see anything. But at that time, that was the most seductive music album cover that she had ever done, and the music content was for a mature and older audience. This was her second album with Interscope Records, and this album preparation began in 2014 after she left Hollywood Records. And in my previous video, I mentioned that Hollywood Records was the record label for Disney, and a lot of Disney stars signed to that label. When they're attached to that label, they're still making kid-friendly music. She recently cut her ties with her child side when she decided to make this album Revival.
Whatever.
She was in her big girl era, I guess that's what you can call it. And I even remember adults, mostly parents, complaining that she was nude on the cover because, as I said, she recently cut ties with Disney, so they still saw her as Alex Russo from Wizards of Waverly Place, which was the show that she starred in on Disney Channel. Anyways, during a roundtable discussion for The Hollywood Reporter, Selena Gomez disclosed her discomfort with the cover of her 2015 album Revival. She revealed that she felt pressure to portray a more adult image in her music and wear more revealing outfits, despite it not aligning with her true self. She stated that she is not an overly sexual person, so it didn't make sense for her to present herself that way, and she says when she wants to be sexual, she wants to do it for herself. She doesn't want to do it for other people's consumption. But despite that, she did still feel pressure to show herself more. I can hear like executives and maybe people up in the top telling her to show more skin so she can sell more records and shed her childlike image. And it truly sucks that she felt the need to have to show her body to be considered an adult despite not wanting to. Why must a young woman's transition into adulthood be so enough?
Let me answer that question for you. This is stupid. The people who have the money to give her the money is telling her, listen, you showing more skin makes us more money to then pay you. If you don't show skin, we won't make enough money to pay you. So, it's not on us. It's on you. Yeah, but why does it have to be that way? Because that's the way it is. Period. Men, look at you. Men sexualize women all the time, period. With the clothes on or off, or semi, or nothing. It doesn't matter. That's just how, if you wear a daishiki, dudes is wondering, I wonder how hot she looks in it. And all you can see is her eyes. That's just the nature of men. It's not a bad thing. This is men admiring women. This is men loving women. We just love women. And yes, it comes down to sex, because that's how we reproduce and that's how we keep the species going. So all this other social nonsense is bullshit. It's fucking stupid. Like, it's just obvious. You can go back to Adam and Eve if you want to believe in Adam and Eve. Doesn't matter. Point is, you're like, yo, you want to expand, you want to make more money, you want to sing it, you have to sing for an older crowd. Older crowd want more sexual thing. You don't have to be overtly sexual. You can have it hiding in the windows or whatever. But sex is what's on the population's mind 9 times out of 10. No matter what you are, whether you're in the most civil society or whether you're in war, that's what's on dudes' minds all the time. And who's spending the money? Whose industry? Who prints the money? Who built the infrastructure? Men. That's just the way it is. It's not a personal thing or anything like that, but like, I don't feel like doing this. Then don't do it. Well, I want that money. Whoa, that don't make any sense. Example. For the Valkyries, I wonder if some of you guys even wonder, yo, does Now have a OnlyFans? No, it doesn't. Yo, does Now do nudes? No, it doesn't. But Triforce, how are you gonna make that money? We're not. We'll have to find another way. But what if you don't make it? Then we don't. It's a choice. You just have to make the choice. It's either you do it or you don't. You can't expect it. We understand that getting into that opens a whole door of demonic shit. And we don't want it. There's no money worth it. We don't, remember guys, my rule, don't consort with demons. So we just have to find another way. But what if it doesn't come around? Thou shalt not covet. So if it don't come around, it don't. You know what the important thing is? Food, water, family, clothes, house, bed, toilet, and a bathtub, and a stove. That's all that really matters. Everything else is not important. But those are our values. And for some other people, these values are too poor, and they want more. So they'll do what they have to do to get it. And that's a decision that they have to make. But this notion, do they feel pressure? Cut it, the bullshit. There's no pressure. It's either you want to or you don't.
Automatic with sexual appeal. Like there's so many other qualities that a young woman can gain into adulthood, but I feel like her sexual appeal is like the all-the factor. It's like the biggest factor. And they probably told her all sorts of things and that she would sell more records if she showed her skin. And unfortunately, it did work because her album did go #1, and also the album did really well. It was charting in various different countries like Australia, Canada, the US, I think even France possibly. So yeah, it did do well, but at what cost? She had to do something that she was very uncomfortable with just to sell records. I wish that she didn't have to do that, but I do understand feeling the pressure to do so. So
See, that right there was disingenuous. That right there is disingenuous. The formula proves to work, and you're making it sound like she was pressured. She was not pressured, bro, or sis, or whatever. She wanted that. She wanted the guap. She did what they told her. She got the guap. That's it. What's the problem? Trust me, she's driving in a new Bugatti or whatever it is, or taking a private jet or designer clothes. She's crying and using her money to wipe her tears away from being pressured. Said no one ever.
Selena Gomez's experience resonates with countless women in the entertainment industry, echoing sentiments expressed by icons like Britney Spears, who also felt forced to maintain a sexy image for public consumption, and from quite a young age too. Like, remember when Britney released her song "Hit Me Baby One More Time"? She was only 16 years old, and her schoolgirl outfit in that music video was interesting to say the least. And since she was 16 years old and she was just signed to the record label, I doubt she had any creative control over the outfit she wanted to wear. So it was adults who were telling her what to wear. These pressures
Pedal adults by that.
extend far beyond the entertainment realm, permeating real life experiences. I can personally relate to how to face societal expectations regarding my appearance from quite a young age, actually. Growing up, I was always an average sized kid. Like, I wasn't too big, I wasn't that small. But once I hit puberty, boom, I gained weight, and I got boobs, and I got boots, and an unnecessarily big butt.
Yeah, but you don't tease the men here. You're dressing up in a fucking blue collared with a sweater on, and you're talking about you got boobs and a big butt. But you're not, we can't see. Look out of here, don't do that bullshit.
I actually hit puberty earlier than most girls my age, which annoyed me because they were all like tiny, like they didn't have boobs and butt, but I did, and I was like, bro, I just feel like I stand out too much, and I hated the attention that the big bosom brought it. That word, let me rephrase that. I hated the attention that my time brought me because having a big butt or more developed body as a young person makes people think that you should act older than your age. For some reason, I grappled with the expectation to dress and behave in a manner that seemed more mature, and actually way mature than my age, to be honest, because I was young when I hit puberty. And it was unsettling to see that my physical development dictated to others how they perceived my readiness for adulthood. Your appearance should not dictate your readiness for adulthood. Your age should. But it's just disgusting because I remember many times, like, people, especially older people actually, they would like just comment on my butt and be like, yeah, it's so big, like blah blah blah, to try to make jokes and stuff. And it was just off-putting. It was just weird because I'm like, ew, like I don't want this. I'm like 12 years old. But I remember thinking to myself one day after someone said like a stupid joke about my body, I was like, damn, like this is so annoying. Like, I just want to be a kid. That was my thought. And it sucks that I have to think that at such a young age. But people are weird. Like, certain people are very weird. And when they see young girls who are developing, they assume that they're ready to be a woman. And we're not. We're not. But let me summarize how I feel about this whole topic, because I feel like I sort of ranted a little bit and gone off course. Let me just summarize it real quick. I would love to see many women, especially young women, not feel like they have to be sexually appealing once they hit a certain milestone or once they hit a certain age, or if they start developing sooner than other girls. I would just love for them not to have that pressure of looking a certain way. And to those who genuinely want to show their skin and use their sexual appeal, there's no problem with that as long as they're of age and they actually want to do that, then that's cool. Like, I'm not hating on that either. What I really need is just a variety in how women are represented and the entertainment.
Damn, how many edits did you make?
I would love to see black and brown ladies just not have to conform to a certain aesthetic in order to sell records. There are so many great black female artists who are not overtly provocative, that do not get the same shine as the others. all we need is variety, y'all. That's all we need. Just to show young girls and women that you do not have to become overly lustful to make that transition from teenagehood to adulthood. Pink Pantheress and Willow Smith are great examples. They're both really dope. They make good music, and they have a really cool aesthetic that I really love. And I just wish that was pushed to the mainstream as much as.
Okay, yeah, that's enough. All right, last piece of content before we move on. Sensitive Society put out something 50 minutes ago, but that's doesn't look like it. I want to get some gaming and anime related. What? What?
The thought is that the water, soap, and shampoo running down from the top of your body will actually get your bottom half clean. So we decided to test that out, and the results were shocking. The team and I decided to nasty up our legs and then hop in the shower for 10 minutes. And it was surprising to see other people's shower routines. Amy from our team apparently likes to go all rock concert by moving her hair back and forth every time she gets clean. As for me, I'm a pivoter. Got butt spinning under the water, baby. We decided to wash our right leg with soap, and we didn't touch our left leg. And side by side, you can actually see the results. For the most part, our water-only legs look just as clean as the soapy legs. But what about all the dirt that you can't see? Well, this is the bacteria after a water-only rinse. And this is after washing with soap. Turns out the soap actually makes you dirtier. If you want to learn exactly why that is, because that makes no possible sense, go watch our recent expose on soap. That one will blow your mind and forever change the way that you wash your body. 20% of the human population doesn't wash their legs. And you know what? They're right. The thought is...
What? Why Dream chose to fall off. Women shares a struggle with being the what? Okay, whatever. I'm trying to find one more thing to watch. TikToker goes back to jail over more disgusting dog videos. Okay, I'm gonna skip that. Why are sugar daddy relationships so common? Whatever. 7 types of girls around guys. All right, this is a... Okay, no. No. There ain't shit online, or maybe I'm just not subscribed to anybody worth it. Don't care about Sniper Wolf. YouTubers were exposed as predators. Ryan Pictures. Is this guy just about catching... Something makes me wonder about people who make whole YouTube channels about catching predators. I understand you're going to try to stop certain people, whatever, but what makes your life dedicated to just that? Maybe it's because it's what makes my life dedicated to what I do. It's just probably what they're into. Lifestyle influencers must be stopped. What? Let's see what this guy has to say. Oh, we got whoa. We got a bunch of people in here shouting. Got a bunch of people in here saying some shit. One moment. This is the Kisa. This is the reason why you don't Indian marry anywhere. What? The industry wants boobs and butts first. Matt Pat greatly disappointed me with that leg washing video. Oh.
First frame of the day, my boy is literally in the shower. That is absolutely wild. This man literally had to set up his tripod in the bathroom, get naked, he had to strip down naked in front of the camera and record that. And then he puts it to the interwebs. That's actually crazy.
And this man just had to show the Drake in the background, bro. I'm not gonna lie, this is literally the average Drake listener. I would expect every single human being that listen to Drake to look like this. I'm not gonna lie. Now I'm not gonna lie to you, this man's fit is actually fine. But let's just keep on watching. Let's see like what else this man has to do. And basically, that's his whole day. My man got ready and everything just to go to Target. But yeah, that's pretty much like the newest trend on social media. Everybody is trying to be a lifestyle influencer. You know how like a few months ago, everybody was trying to be a fitness influencer? Well, yeah, now everybody just wants to vlog their day and show off like their lifestyle. But the sad reality is that a lot of people's lifestyles are very boring. So a lot of their days will just look like this. Them going to Target with them just going back home. It's not sad, but it's just like the normal life, you know? And basically in today's video, we're going to be reacting to lifestyle influencers. Hope you guys enjoy. First frame of the day, and this man is in the shower once again. I'm sorry, but I do not want to see a frame of you showering. I don't want to see your back in the shower. Show me something else, bro. Come on.
But you already went through this, man. Move on. Did this rewind or
Okay,
something?
and this man is listening to Drake once again. Like I said, this is like the top.
All right, next.
Like me, right? It's just.
All right, this guy sucks. Because the lifestyle of an influencer, he picks one influencer to go off on. Kai Cenat and Kevin Hart's funniest moments. This is why humans are horrible. Let's see.
Human beings are absolutely awful creatures. One moment your friend goes, hey, I've got the Elden Ring Shadow of the Earth Tree early gameplay to show you. Next thing you know, the phone's in your face with the granddad's wrinkly balls in front of you, and you can't now forget that image until burned into the back of your retinas. But anyway, today I'm here to talk about the Kai Cenat stream, and before I go into the actual issue about human beings being awful creatures, let me give you some backstory so you kind of know what's going on. So Kai Cenat is a very popular streamer, I'm sure everyone knows who he is, and he has a habit of doing these marathons. The last one he did, I believe, was Red Dead Redemption, and I was doing Elden Ring, where he has to play Elden Ring until he beats it or else he can't go off stream. Now, he has never played, at least to my knowledge, a Souls game, or at least he looked like it at the start of the game. He's now around about the 50 mark, and he's doing pretty well. I think he's learned a lot about the game, he's really enjoying himself, and every time he beats a boss, you can't help but just feel happy for him. We all know what that experience is, beating a Souls boss for the first time. It's just jubilation. We are all so happy to do it. But sadly, sports fans, there are some people out there that just want to piss in your cereal, that just think that they're better and above everyone else. So yesterday he found himself fighting Radahn, who is a fairly hard boss in the game. He's one of the harder bosses in the game. Some people find him very hard, some people find him not so hard. I'll touch on that a bit later. But he finally beat him yesterday after 95 tries. I think it was like 3 hours of gameplay. He was really hammering down Radahn. With no summons, by the way. He's not one of those that wants to do summons. He was doing no summons. And I think he did pretty well. So Gaming Bible then picked up that clip of him finally beating him. A clip that should have been rejoiced by everyone. Or at least been like, hey, I'm really happy for this guy. But no. There has to be some people that just have to ruin the fun for the rest of them. That some people to just look at someone happy and they're like, hey, I don't want you to be happy. Fuck you. I'm going to now ruin your day. So that's what I'm here to talk about. So I'm going to show you the clip that Gaming Bible posted, and then I'm going to go through the comments with you, and just we can all mock these absolutely brain dead people.
Damn, Kai, was that serious?
Oh my god. Yeah. So as you can see by the clip, he was overjoyed. He was so happy to finally beat this boss, an experience that a lot of other Elden Ring players, or even people who just play games, have felt at least one point in their lives. But the people in the comments just didn't feel this way. So I'm going to block out the profile picture and usernames of these absolute scums. I don't want you guys to go and send these guys hate. I just want to clown on the comment individually themselves, and then hopefully they can go to a corner of the room and cry and think about their life. So the first one says, what happened to Ben these days? Yep, what happened to men? It's almost like 100 years ago they were out fighting wars, and now, because of those people who fought the wars, we now are lucky enough to live a life where we can sit down and play video games, either during our spare time or for a living. What happened to men? You are an absolute pussy. You sit there and play Elden Ring, go out in the fucking front lines, go out there, shoot some people, and show people what real men are about. Comments like these are so brain dead. I find them so brain dead. It's like that video I did a few weeks ago where a guy says if you're over 25, gaming is cringe. What? It's so caveman thinking that people still think like this. It absolutely baffles me. The next one says 95 attempts. Is he a retard or something? This is one of those comments that just proves that there's a toxic community in every game out there. Souls community is fairly toxic. I've been in and around it for a good few years now, and I know that whether whatever build you do, whether how good or bad you are in the game, for anything, people will try and clown on you with. And this guy's basically saying, hey, you did 95 attempts, you're basically disabled, you are absolutely awful. How are you even a human being? How do you even walk around in life? Because he's never played a Souls game before. Radahn is not an easy boss, but he found him super easy or not. He's not your typical easy boss, like generically. And then having a person who's never played a Souls game in his life, not even a shred of one, come in and do it in 95 attempts. Yes, that is a bit on the high end, but it's not something you should be looking down on him. He's done it. He's had fun. It's not something you should be shaming him for at all. And just to show that there's some good Samaritans in the world, these are just some comments of people saying, hey, he's not a Souls player, this is his first Souls game. One of them even saying that he didn't use summons, which a lot of people in Elden Ring or Souls games do, like they use summons, which is absolutely fine. You play the game however you want to, but it does undoubtedly make the game easier. And for a first-time Souls player going into this, not using summons, should be applauded. This man literally has come into Elden Ring asking for no one's help, asking for no help off summons, nothing. He's going into this completely blind, trying to do it mostly by himself unless he gets stuck, then he asks for help off people like anyone else does, and doing it without summon. I think this should be applauded for. Then we have this guy, and I really wish I could show you his profile picture because he should really be mocked for everything, but again, I won't show it. And he said, gamers think they look cool, but this is how the world sees you. We are laughing, haha. No one is laughing. The only people laughing are us laughing at your comment. It's so dumb. It literally sounds like a Redditor's mark, like, huh. You lot are all peasants. I am an alpha male here. I fuck every bitch. I go up to a girl and I say, you fuck me, and she fucks me because she has never seen a clip of me playing Elden Ring and acting like this. But she's seen you. Yes, Kaitsanat, she's seen you act like this, so you're never gonna get laid. You absolute pussy. We're all laughing at you boys, right? Right, boys? Anyway, we'll end this off with some nice comments that he got. One of them saying, how's he gonna scream when he beats Moog and Melania? And if you haven't played Elden Ring, Moog is a fairly hard boss. I actually struggle on him quite a lot throughout the game. I know some people didn't really say he is a very hard boss, but some people found him, tough. I found him really hard. It took me a good few tries. I think it took me like somewhere between the ballpark of 20 to 30, maybe even 40 tries. Like I really struggled on Moog for some reason. So this comment isn't in a bad way. It's not a comment that's coming through negatively. It's just kind of in poking fun, being like, hey, how is he going to scream if he's screaming like that? Because in the video he does scream fairly loud. And then Melania, if I'm being completely honest, I don't think he's going to get past Melania. I think he's going to need a lot of help. I think he might even need to do summons. But if he is going to do Melania, I can imagine he's going to be there for a good while. Either that or he's going to need to do a build that hard counters her or something. Anyway, this video isn't about Elden Ring. I actually love talking about Elden Ring, but this video isn't about Elden Ring. Then the last one I kind of wanted to highlight is, but you got to give it to him. He is really patient. I'm assuming is what he's trying to say. Trying 120 times to kill the tree sentinel, buddy. That's sick, but it's insane still. 100% agree. It took him 120 tries to beat the tree sentinel and 95 tries to beat Radahn. And this man, apart from shedding a tear, has never really broken down. He is just hedge forward, wanting to try and beat the game, which I think is great. This is what people in the gaming community should be like. Whether it's Elden Ring or Rainbow Six Siege, which I'm new at the moment, we should all be trying to build each other up. You want people in your game. You don't want people to leave your game, because guess what happens? If people leave your game, you're more than likely not going to have another game, and you're more than likely not going to have a game, in Rainbow Six's case, to play. So you should really be trying to help people out and tell them, hey, come into the game. This game that you love, you shouldn't be gatekeeping it. You should be having everyone play it so you can just talk about it and enjoy it with everyone you can. Anyway, the other point I wanted to touch on was Radahn isn't a hard or easy boss. He's one of those bosses I would say is very dependent on the person. I think the majority of bosses are dependent on the person, but Radahn is very, very dependent on the person. So for me, it took me around the 10 to 20 mark, right? He was kind of tough, but eventually I got to him. I think it was more around the 12 mark that I got him. It was fine for me. My brother, who only played Lies of P and then instantly went into Elden Ring, so he had very, very limited Souls experience. And Lies of P isn't even exactly a FromSoft game. So he basically had like zero FromSoft Soul experience going into it. He found Radahn super easy. I also have friends who found Radahn incredibly hard. And that's the beauty of the game, is every boss hard counters everyone. I have seen people who found the Godskin duel super easy. I found them fucking hell. I hated the Godskin duel more than anything. I hate them in the game. Melania as well. I see some people saying, hey, she was super easy. She took me so long. I genuinely think Melania took me over 100 tries. Whether people want to call me shit at the game or whatever, call me shit at the game. But she took me so many tries. She was even harder than the Orphan of Kos, which I thought was the hardest boss in any Souls game. Melania, for me, is the hardest Souls boss in the history of ever. And I've seen some people comment in some posts say, I'd be her first try. Bullshit.
Okay.
Purely because of Waterfall Dance, I very much doubt anyone has ever beaten their first try. Because that move disintegrates your health. And unless you are incredibly sharp, I believe like 0.1% of people beat her first try. But unless you know what she's going to do, and unless you literally are Ayana Koji from Classroom of the Elite, and once you see her move once, you've already got that shit fucking calculated, there is no way that you're going to beat her first time. Absolutely no way. Anyway, I'm going on a tangent. So, Radahn might just very well be a boss that Kai doesn't do very well at. He has also been playing the game for 49 hours, I think is the time that he beat him, straight. I think the only thing that he does in between is eat, watch some videos as soon as he wakes up and sleeps. That boy's probably fucking burnt out. We have all played Elden Ring to the point where we need like a day break, 2-day break, something, maybe. I don't know, some people like to play it straight until the end. But we at least have some form of break whether we go out and see our friends or whatever. That boy lives Elden Ring. He does not get any break. So, again, I genuinely think that this should be commended by Kai. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about this. People always will try to find a way to piss in your cereal, as the saying goes. And I think it's absolutely abysmal, especially people from that community. You should be really bringing people up and trying to get them into playing the games. But no, people just will always try and break you down, always try and ruin your day. And I do think it's sad. I do think it's very sad. Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about today. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.
If you stumbled across this video and somehow don't know who Ludwig is, then I would suggest you get back to watching Skibbity Toilet, but either way, I'll give you a quick rundown as to who this person is. Ludwig is one of the biggest streamers on YouTube, getting several thousand viewers every time he streams. He'll play video games or do react content, and this often becomes the content that gets posted on the channel after it's edited and cut up. His biggest video, though, isn't even his own. It's literally a Mr. Beast scrapped video that Jimmy just decided to give him and let him keep all the money from it. You gotta imagine how much of Mr. Beast's population pudding he had to ingest in order to get that video for free. Sorry, that was a little graphic, but Ludwig's main channel is not what we're talking about today. We're talking about him on his social media platforms like Twitter.
No, unacceptable.
And we're also talking about his second channel called Mogul Mail, where he posts daily commentary, moist critical style videos going over current events, trending topics, etc. For a long time, I had no issue with Ludwig, and at one point I actually consumed his content somewhat regularly, but over the past year or so, I've seen the way that his content has shifted, and seeing his attitude on social media has made me strongly dislike him. One of Ludwig's biggest videos on his Mogul Mail channel is called This YouTuber Sucks, a 21-minute video where Ludwig criticizes the YouTuber Think Before You Sleep for a video that he posted titled How Feminist Ideas Make Everybody Weak. This website says it's going to take me 10 months to hit 500k. I think that's whack. Let's do it way before that. So subscribe to the channel and help me out. And while you're down there, follow my Twitter and Instagram. Links are down below. Thanks. Now, as a commentary channel, I believe you can make fun of anybody you want. You can criticize anybody you want for whatever reason you want. But one thing I think is very important is if you're presenting information, you should be honest about it. You should be factual. And if you, whether accidentally or not, present misinformation or misrepresent something, I think you should correct it, whether that would be through a comment on the video saying, hey, I got this wrong, my mistake, or issuing a correction in a follow-up video of some sort. A lot of Ludwig's criticisms against Think Before You Sleep are just based on his own personal opinions and his observations about the world, right? That's fair. Disagreeing with some of the general takes and opinions provided by Think Before You Sleep in that video, and that's totally fine. This might get a little meta and hard to follow, but I'm just going to try to break it down. So Think Before You Sleep's original video was reacting to a video by BBC, which was arguing that women have it worse when gaming online and dealing with online harassment. Think Before You Sleep's argument was that men actually get harassed on net more, so the argument made by this BBC video being that the type of harassment women receive because of their gender is worse is just kind of arbitrary.
Here's data from Pew Research about online harassment from 2014. Most of the categories are even. Look, it says here that men are 7% more likely to be harassed online than women are when you look at all types of harassment. Yeah, this stuff is not great on both sides, but don't sit there and make shows pretending that women are the only ones who have to deal with assholes.
Ludwig ignores this information while reacting to Think Before You Sleep's video, even when he's looking at a graph that he pulled up that shows that there are a lot of instances
more likely than it says factual,
less
not reading,
such as political views, race and ethnicity, and religion. Meanwhile, women will more oftentimes get harassed for sexual orientation and gender. Ludwig barely acknowledges this while looking at the graph that he pulled up from Pew Research Center and just says like, oh yeah, well, women get harassed more for their gender. It's like, well, yeah, obviously, like, we know that. That's what the graph says. But in this same article by Pew, they show a graph that has 43% of men reporting any and all online harassment in general, and 38% of women reporting any and all harassment online in general.
It says here that men are 7% more likely to be harassed online than women are when you look at all types of harassment.
Okay, that's a 2014 article from Pew Research. Pew Research does this article often. I don't know why he went back to 2014. Again, this video was posted literally a couple months ago. They did a 2017 version and then a 2021 version. I looked it up, and it turns out that if you do the more recent one, the numbers have changed a bit, interestingly enough, and the amount of gendered harassment has increased from 20% to 33% among those who were harassed.
Now, I'm not here to argue that it's like worse for men or worse for women. I'm just showing you the data that he showed us to prove the point that he must be horrible at interpreting data, because this graph doesn't prove the point that it's like worse for women. He's just kind of assuming like, oh, even though the numbers would show me that it's actually, in some cases, you could argue worse for men based on net harassment and the different specific types. But I'm just going to give you this information that says, hey, women sometimes get sexist comments made toward them, and then that's just like, what? That's just the worst thing ever because you said so? It's one thing to misinterpret data, but I think it's another thing to misinterpret data and use this said misinterpretation to attack somebody else's credibility. Ludwig has still not made any revisions or corrections to this video. Now, with that being said, it is like a year old, so at this point in time, I'm not expecting him to, but I want to just bring this up to show you where a genuine case of Ludwig not doing something correct was done, and he did nothing to remedy it. I bring this up to contrast a situation where Ludwig did nothing wrong at all and actually made a valid criticism of another streamer, but that other streamer was so upset at this video that was made against him that he basically asked Ludwig to take it down, and Ludwig cowered in fear and literally took the video down. A few months ago, there was discourse surrounding the notion of streaming being a hard job. People on Twitter were arguing about if streaming is really that hard compared to other normal jobs, you could say. This discourse was sparked because of streamer Hasanabi's comments saying that streaming is socially draining and will suck the soul out of you, those are quotes from him, in a way that a normal job could never do. Because staring at a screen for 8 hours can be pretty draining, which I think we can all agree with, but the way that he said it just came across kind of privileged and somewhat tone deaf to the fact that he's making millions of dollars just kind of doing nothing, and seemed ungrateful in this clip.
Yes, a real job can be gruesome, a real job can make you very tired, but a real job doesn't suck the soul out of you, you know what I mean? In the same way that 9 hours of streaming absolutely will.
Now, in case you can't pick up on this, on the Mogul Mail channel, Ludwig seems to try to give the most palatable, easy to digest, and least controversial take as humanly possible. Right? The Think Before You Sleep video that he reacted to a year ago, I believe the reason that he posted it was to try to posture to his audience that, like, oh, I'm not sexist, you know, women are great, stop sexism, women are great, you know, it was sort of just like a very simple, average, middle of the road, like, okay, you know, a nothing burger take, like, yeah, women are cool. Like the same reason he made a video criticizing Andrew Tate. You know, it can just be like this very simple chance to score brownie points with your audience for saying very simple, not controversial things that, you know, for some reason you can seem still brave for saying, like, women are fine, don't be sexist. Okay, Thank you, Ludwig. Now, Ludwig made a video on the entire streaming is harder than a real job discourse for that same reason, presumably, because most people would agree that saying streaming is harder than a 9 to 5 or that streaming is socially draining in a way that a normal job will never be is a little delusional. And it's something that if you say to your audience that you disagree with, they'll be like, oh, yeah, that's base, like, yeah, facts. Now, Ludwig ended up actually doing this in a video that he now deleted where he had a fake tweet of Hassan in the thumbnail saying streaming is harder than a real job or something along those lines.
Yes, a real job can be gruesome, a real job can make you very tired, but a real job doesn't suck the soul out of you. You know what I mean? In the same way that 9 hours of streaming absolutely will.
Now, as you can imagine, this clip went mega viral. Viral to the effect of 10 million views. And in my 5-year career as a YouTuber, I've never made a video with that many views before. So that it is an impressive number in my mind. But I wanted to talk about this. As a streamer myself for almost 6 years now, on how hard it really is. No, I'm kidding.
Hassan reacted to this video by Ludwig on stream and got very upset that, Ludwig was apparently drama farming off of him and, using him for clicks, even though I think they're friends behind the scene or something.
It's no different than what Muda did. He showed the context, though. It doesn't fucking matter that he showed the context. It's just a way to just literally farm off the fucking drama. Whatever. Fuck it. Who cares?
I don't give a shit about this conversation.
Yeah, no video for Nick Marks from Ludwig.
Conveniently for Hassan, the video was taken down, actually. Hassan, I think, pressured Ludwig into deleting the video, and then Ludwig did a re-upload of it with a different thumbnail and a different title. And Ludwig said the reason he took it down was not because Hassan pressured him or anything, or that he's Hassan's little bitch and does whatever he says. And when Hassan says jump, Ludwig says how high. No. It was because the sponsorship wouldn't have been happy with the way that video performed. And he wanted to re-upload it so that the video performed better, so the sponsors would be more happy.
You should call Hassan and apologize. Why is Hassan that? What did I do? Because I'm a mogul male? I feel like everything I said is fine.
Alright, guys.
Fard for views? Oh, well, I mean, that's the deal. I'll just pull them out of the thumbnail, then I feel like it doesn't really matter much, right? I can just pull them out. I feel like that's...
I'll be back with you guys later on today. Tonight, maybe. Depends when Now finishes her stuff. She's gonna start up her stream. Run it for about 2 hours, so I will see y'all then. I gotta run right now because we're behind. We're supposed to start at 10. It's 10:51 right now. As usual, we take those W's and we run. Later, guys.